Welcome back to Ramblesville. We haven't budged. We also haven't made our thoughts any more succinct than last time.
Ultron.
Yeah, I hastily concluded my opinions on Mandalorian. You should watch it. It's good.
I have yet to watch it, but I would like to.
I'm sorry I cheated on you. But admittedly, I thought you weren't as into it as I was, so I didn't think you'd care.
It's not, well, and that wasn't an unfair assumption.
I wasn't into it for a long time,
Yeah,
too. I only did it out of curiosity.
It took me a little bit.
I'm gonna tag
I
that
will
Riddler
say this.
trophy.
I was more curious about the second season. Because the first season didn't... Maybe I should say it this way. I was bummed out when I found out that the Mandalorian season 1 didn't have any reference to Jango or Boba. That bothered me a lot because that's what I thought.
Well, because I thought you were going to mention that in the last episode where because you mentioned you went a different direction with it. But I actually think one of the things that made it better for me was the inclusion of other Star Wars lore.
Yes.
Because obviously,
that was missing in the first season.
If you've watched Clone Wars, you know Mandalore is a planet. You'll know what the armor looks like because you'll know about those characters, and presumably you'll get the connection to the Fets. Ooh, hello. But admittedly, there isn't a whole lot of reference, which is that, I mean, I agree with you there. There's not a whole lot of Star Wars-iness. Come on, this way.
Well, and it felt detached. That's the only way I would describe it. It didn't feel...
Yeah.
It felt like a story that was set in Star Wars time frame and...
Well, I think that's what they want. No, come back. Dang it. Yes. Oh, you little... Dude, I wasn't even... You didn't see me. Okay, if he's looking at... Oh, he's clever. He's clever. He's got tricks.
They went too far with it, is all I'm saying.
Went too far to keep it separate, you mean?
Yes. I think that they just went too far.
Take out Mr. Jammerman. Mr. Jammerman's coming to me.
Take out the man. He's the Jammer Man.
That was not the melody I thought you were going to try to put that into.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. I didn't know. That's Mr. Jamman.
Mr. Jamman, bring me the machine.
Bring me the jam. Jam my stuff. Make it sure it's real jammed. What? I don't know that song well enough. Come here, you. Wow! Aggressive makeout.
That has to be the.
You don't know where I am.
The thumbnail. That was the best.
Come here, bro.
No, can I jump your bones?
No, come on.
It doesn't mean what you think it means.
By that I mean I will in fact jump on your bones.
Just jumped on it.
Press the Y. No. What? Where are you? That's not where I want to be.
Well, that works.
No, because they still saw me do that. That's the problem. Is now once the guys know you're. All right, applause to that guy. I don't even know who that was.
That was a crack shot.
I think that was Deadshot was in the room. We didn't know. Applaud that shot. Just here. Slow clap. We said we were done with The Mandalorian. We're still talking about it. I agree. I think what made it better for me is that it feels more Star Warsy in Season 2.
Right.
They bring a little more of the history back, which helps ground it in Star Wars a little more. I mean, there's definitely still plenty of new stuff, but it's grounded in old stuff, and that helps. Because you need that. Yeah, we're not that far from the room. So anyways, now we are really done for reals. You
I didn't even get to the wall.
Okay, no, you didn't die. That wasn't dead. You just had to crawl out of the water. Really more, that was just embarrassment. Just crawling up, going, I'm glad no one saw that.
Talia's like, I saw it.
How many moments do you think Batman has like that? You gotta wonder. He can't be so, hardcore all the time. He's got to goof sometimes, but he just does. He makes sure it doesn't happen when other people are around. All right, let's see if we can actually be like that. See, it's not that unintuitive. You still got to make sure they're still on the other side of those pillars, so make sure you're not, visible to them. You're gonna probably. Well, I guess you're still being jammed. Age of Ultron.
Okay.
You can't. I like the way you stood up and just started walking. You can't go back to where you were. They know that's where you are now.
But maybe I can just...
Maybe I can just wait them out.
Well, you don't know. I mean, what are the rules here? Are they similar to...
Well, the rules are now they know where you were at. That's the only difference. So now you stealth out the window. So just have fun is the new rules. No one was shooting at you. All that... Why did you... That's for stopping people from shooting at you. Now they're all going to see a smoke trail and go, oh, he's over there. Oh, dude, I swear Deadshot's in the room. I don't even know where those shots are coming from.
He's freaking me out.
I'm pretty sure that was the intention.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not even freaking me out like the normal Joker freaking me out. It's just like, just stay over there, you leper.
Gotta be going down the street shouting, unclean! Age of Ultron. An okay movie. Don't lift that up. There's computers and things on it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. What be your thoughts? Whoop.
On Age of Ultron?
You seemed surprised that it's not as well received
I was
as
shocked
the others.
that I suppose on a fan level that it was not as appreciated. I don't know that it felt significantly different in quality, I suppose I would say. I felt like the acting was still great, the writing was still great.
I don't know about the writing.
I didn't feel like it was problematic. Maybe people assumed that Ultron was going to be more intense than it was, but
well, see, here we get to my rub, and also my problem with the movie. I don't think Ultron's very scary.
See, but he doesn't have to be scary.
He does. He's a villain.
He decimated an entire country.
Yeah, but the fact that I don't think he's scary, even though he's done that, what does that tell you?
It tells you that you are assuming...
I'm a sociopath.
No, I'm saying...
You want to scare me? They have to work harder, robot.
You're expecting it to be a little bit... I feel like this
Here's...
gets into the territory of... I want it to be comic booky scary.
No.
And I'm going, no.
Because comic book scary is not generally... actually frightening scary.
Well, here's a question. What could they have done differently?
They could have made him a freaking robot. He wasn't.
Did.
He was way too human to be a believable robot. Here's the thing. When you think scary artificial intelligence, what do you think? You're thinking...
iRobot. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's not...
You're...
I was choking the guy out and the other guy was going to see me, but never mind. Can I Nosferatu you? Come on, too far away. Oh, are you sure of it? I just got hit in the face. He must be around. Like you think Hal from 2001. iRobot's not a bad comparison. You making that as a joke? Because I think that's
my point is you're thinking of like the
I'm thinking creepy, non-human,
like humanoid looking.
No,
face.
not because Hal 9000's a red dot. But what they can't be is acting. They can't act like a human. And he acts way too much like a human. He loses his temper. He cracks jokes. It's like this is just a person in a suit.
So you wanted him to be
devoid
of emotion.
Because this is the topic. Is he? Okay. The moment I did this, he stopped walking. Is he going to look up at me now? There you go. Come on. Oh, come on. We hadn't had one of these in a while. Whoop. Ah, no! No chance for you! Well, he's still scanning me. We didn't even get to the... He interrupted the Nosferatu. I didn't get to come up with another actor. To me, if you're going to make the villain a robot bent on destroying the Earth, it has to... It
has to be humans are not to be emulated.
Because here's the thing. The whole point about the reason that's scary is because of how plausible it is. You go, if you told a robot, hey, we need you to protect the Earth, it's going to go, oh, well, humans are bad for the Earth. It's going to, and that's why I think the first, 15 minutes of the movie are okay. Because the only time you see him is either in, the first couple minutes where he literally is like, oh, humanity. He, downloads all of the news footage of ever and is like, humanity's pretty screwy. And then, the most effective part of the movie is when he inhabits the busted up Iron Man suit. Because then he's freaky. Because he's literally this falling apart robot talking about like, oh, humanity's terrible for the Earth. If you want me to protect the Earth, I got to get rid of you.
Yeah, but that's what he looks like for the rest of the movie.
No,
yeah?
the rest of the movie, he's like he's got his own robot body, and emotes. He actually has a mouth that talks and like makes faces. And I'm like, why on earth would a robot need these things?
Yeah.
To me, a scary robot has to be totally rational with no emotion, because that's the only thing that could come up with the conclusion of destroy humans. They're bad for the Earth. I'm gonna grab this guy because that's the whole Terminator thing. What makes Arnold Schwarzenegger scary in Terminator is because he's so non-human. And I mean, and I'm not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm talking about I actually think he does a good job at acting like a stilted robot, because he's like and what makes it scarier is he tries to pass off as human. It's the uncanny valley thing. It's the reason why bit of an oddball entry. Like GLaDOS from Portal is scary for the same reason.
Sure.
Because she's a robot trying to manipulate a person, but not really knowing how, because she's not a person.
Right.
So it's like it's the attempt to be human, but failing. That's what makes an AI creepy. Whereas I think, now we got shield dudes.
So you're saying Ultron was too human.
He had way too much of an actual personality. Like, and here's what I think. They actually had some really good ideas. Oh, I was about to get my takedown on him. Like, I think the quotes that he pulls out at random times in the movie could have been actually pretty impressively freaky if they had been delivered like a robot. Like, I think the one that stands out to me the most is, I'm not paying attention to the buttons, B and A. There you go, like that. When they show him the vibranium that he's like about to steal from Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
And he says, on this rock I shall build my church. Like, if he had said that in anything other than the way he said it, it would have actually come across, because then it's
almost in a Bane-like
yeah,
sense,
it's the closeness to humanity where you're going, it would be scary if when you showed a homicidal AI, a magic rock element, and it knew enough about humanity to make that reference, but still you could tell that it didn't quite know what it was saying.
Context,
it's like the fact that it would pull that reference up, but still not fully grasp it. Like, that would be really freaky if he had said it in like a HAL 9000 voice. Right. Like, it was just a really monotone robot voice. That could have been freaky. Or even like when he sings the "There Are No Strings on Me" song. Like, the fact that he sings it kind of ruins it. Like, I almost feel like it should have been like an actual clip. And it's like, and Disney owns it. They could have done it. They could have had him actually almost like audio recording, just like even make it so quintessential. Like, have it be like an actual click. You hear a click button and a rolling of film, and then the music starts. That would be like, because then it's not even him.
Yeah,
he's just sourcing that,
right.
And that to me would be freaky, because then it's like it knows, it's so close to understanding humanity that it knows these references and knows how to apply them, but it still isn't a human. Because the fact that he gets upset in the one scene. He he loses his temper. He tries
Which
to.
scene is that? I don't remember.
The scene when he cuts off Claw's arm. He gets angry because he compares him to Stark, and he takes offense to that. I'm like, why would a robot take offense to anything?
Yeah.
And so it comes across as like, this is just a petulant human then.
Yeah.
And humans who want to destroy the Earth aren't that scary. Because,
well, I would argue petulance as a whole is not that scary.
Yeah, whereas if it's literally cold reason,
right?
If you there's a reason why I mean, it depends, I suppose, on context, on writing, but there's a degree to which I suppose you could argue it's the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. Right. A sociopath, if I understand the science, I always get them confused. A sociopath is someone who has no real... I mean, I don't want to say they have no control, because that sounds like they know what they're doing, but it's always impulsive.
Well, it's impulsive, and there's
where it's just like,
no context for actual genuine emotion.
Yeah, it's literally just like, I'm angry, so I'm going to kill you. Right. It's like, that's obviously scary in a way, but it's far worse. I would rather be trapped in a room with someone like that than with someone who wants to kill you and is going to take pleasure in doing it. Like, someone who does it because it's like, oh, you made me angry, so I'm going to beat you up. rather than I'm going to kill you slowly because I want to and I want to make you suffer.
Right.
Like, that's the difference. And I think that's always more frightening because you can't write it off as, well, they're just kooky. It's like, no, they know what they're doing. And that's what makes them scary.
Sure.
You know, someone who you could maybe claim, oh, they don't know what they're doing. Well, maybe that's in the back of your head. You might have that in your head. But someone who knows what they're doing, it's like, no, that's worse.
See, I feel like sociopathy better fits the Ultron narrative because the whole point with sociopathy is they have no ability to actually emote. They just fake emotions
Well, no,
that
both
they see.
psychopaths and sociopaths both do that.
I don't think that's
lack
true.
of emotion is common to both of them. Whereas it's that psychopaths, for example, Ted Bundy was a sociopath, Adolf Hitler was a psychopath. Adolf Hitler knew exactly what he was doing. Ted Bundy was really acting on impulse. He killed because he had weird obsessions and kind of got sucked into it. Whereas like Adolf Hitler or Stalin or any of your classic political people, it's like they know what they're doing and they're doing it to inflict as much damage as they can. And that is freakier, at least to me. I mean, I suppose maybe it's a personality thing. But I think someone who's malicious is always going to be more frightening than... Whoa. Okay, that was weird. Someone who's malicious is always going to be more scary than someone who's just nuts. Because it's like there's no sugarcoating it, I suppose. I think that's maybe the main difference. Is you can claim, oh, they're just tormented or they're just, unstable. You can almost reason away someone who's is insane and impulsive. You could almost be like, oh, it's not their fault. They don't know what they're doing almost. Whereas it's like you don't get to do that with a psychopath because it's like, yeah, they know what they're doing. And that makes it scarier because then you have to contend with the fact that it's a person who is just evil. It's in fact one of the reasons why, to shift tones perhaps, people often talk about people like Hitler or Stalin as in like they were these, horrendous monsters. And that's a way of rationalizing. You go, oh, they were just, villainous through and through. It's like, no, they were people. That's more uncomfortable. We like to other them and go, they were monsters because it means that people aren't like that. But the fact of the matter is, people are like that. There's really not that much difference between, a Hitler or a Stalin and just, you push anyone hard enough and they can get there. And that freaks people out more than just, oh, he was nuts and loony. Because you could go, well, not everyone's nuts and loony, but everyone has the capacity to be malicious. And that,
yes.
And that's why I think making Ultron know what he was doing and be purely emotionless and logical, because then you'd go, well, then you can't write it off. This is just, there's no front. It's just he knows what he's doing and he's doing it on purpose, and it's not based on emotion or will. It's literally just, oh, this is the conclusion I've drawn.
Well, but see, that's not virulence at that point. I mean, that's
virulence. I never said virulence.
No, but I'm saying you're talking about the idea of having a bitter kind of response or revenge versus that does not.
I'm not talking about revenge. I'm talking about malicious.
Yes,
to say I'm going to destroy humanity simply because
malicious though wouldn't apply to something like Ultron because he's doing it based on a logical argument.
He should be. In the film, it comes across as a lot more petulant.
Well,
and that's my complaint.
With that. So but again,
I suppose you could argue it's not malicious because malicious requires a degree of like desire.
Yeah,
and arguably a robot wouldn't have that either, but. What I mean is deliberate planning, no harboring of emotions about it. And that to me would have been far more scary if he had just been a Hal like, I keep...
So...
I've been talking way too much.
No, I'm just trying to understand, like, so you're saying in Ultron he came across as more of a despot kind of...
He came across as a lot more unhinged. Because and a robot, it's like he's far too. I
Well,
think
no, 'cause
emotional
you
is
were
the right word. He
arguing
comes across as a person. He does not come across as a robot.
Well, but I mean,
He's too emotional to be a robot.
Okay, but you're not. You're arguing. I feel like you're arguing two different things because you said that Hitler would be more scary than somebody that's just sociopathic, than somebody
Yes,
who's
because a
psychopathic.
sociopath
but
is driven by emotion and impulse. They do things because it's
impulse,
literally
but not
like
necessarily.
impulse is emotion. You can't separate the two.
That's hardly true because
No.
an
Impulse-
sociopathy again requires a
impulse
degree of
happens-
detachment of
no, 'cause-
emotion.
They're not incapable. It's more interpersonal. They're not incapable of emotion. They feel things like anger and sadness and stuff like that. They're not capable of interpersonal relation.
The general term is that they don't have real
They're not
emotions.
truly-
They just
No,
They just
it's not. Well, but see, it's things like, because arguably things like guilt and shame are not emotions. Those are interpersonal responses. You do something, you hurt someone's feelings, you see that they're sad, and you feel bad. Whereas a sociopath, they can feel bad themselves. They can feel sad or they can feel angry, but they won't respond to anyone else feeling those things because they can't decipher that. If someone else is sad or upset, they don't. It's more interpersonal than just incapability of experiencing emotion. Because you can't really be incapable of experiencing emotion. You follow the path I was walking. You always reverse.
no. There's a thing.
I
back
suppose.
here.
Sure, if you want it, you're gonna have to slide into that. You can't.
How do I
crouch?
just run and do it?
You know, you have to run first and then crouch. So it's, yeah, like both of them. It's anti-personality disorder, where it's an inability to respond to other people's emotions or even understand them in a way. It's like they don't have any concept in their minds that anything they've done would impact others.
Right, but that would be a Hitler concept, not you're. So
Well, they can understand them conceptually, where you can go. I mean, there's a degree to which it's always complicated, and I'm not a psychologist,
Where am I
but
being- okay, I'm confused
no,
now.
okay, through the grate, you saw me do this 4 times. It's the only thing in this room you can interact with. They can understand emotions conceptually, but they don't like.
So
you
you're
can
saying,
know.
You're saying
like,
the
you
fact
can,
that he was able to process his own emotions
you
is
can,
a
yeah.
problem.
No,
Like,
it's that he's a robot. He shouldn't have had any emotions.
Right, exactly.
And that's the difference, of course, between even. That's why even the psychopath comparison isn't perfect, because they're still humans. It's like an an evil AI should be like an ultra psychopath, where not only do they not comprehend the emotions of others, they don't even have them themselves. Because, a psychopath will understand that humans feel emotions and they themselves feel emotions, but there's no regard for the emotions of others. And it's not even like, they don't care. It's literally they can't comprehend it. Like, it's not just, oh yeah, I made you feel bad, but I don't care. It's, why would you... It's literally almost like an incapacity to understand that another person would feel bad. Because they are so... It's a degree of like, they are so wrapped up in themselves that they can't even conceive of someone else responding to their emotions. Because they don't respond to other people's.
Right.
So they go, why would what I do affect you? And because they aren't affected by things other people do. We're talking with far too much feigning of authority about something neither of us are experts on. But
Did I die? Okay.
yes,
Interesting.
well, you take your
Missed
double
it.
turn.
Now you're just being pandering.
So you seem to disagree with me.
It's not that I disagree
On
with
the
you.
broader sense
I'm
of the
trying
film.
I'm trying to drive at your actual core principle.
My core principle
issue.
is he should have been an emotionless robot, because those are scarier than people.
Okay. In that regard, I don't know that
Do you disagree with my opinion on him being
it's
too
more
emotional
that I
for a
disagree
robot?
with your I feel like
Do you not think they're scarier, or do you think that
That's
I'm
not-
wrong in thinking he was emotional? Because to me, I don't.
Maybe the latter slightly, but also the fact that I feel like you're conflating sociopathy and psychopathy.
Well, those were
in that,
those
in
were
the
examples.
Yes, but No, it's actually your grandmother. I'm your grandmother.
I'm your grandma. You little Joker thug. So I don't get what you object to.
I don't think you can. It is important. It's not just. I know it seems like semantic, but it's not. It is important to differentiate the difference in, because I don't know that you're correct.
You're getting
in saying
hung up on
that-
the psychopath comparison.
Yes, I don't know that you're correct.
I wasn't.
In saying
That was only meant to
sociopathy
illustrate.
and psychopathy are similar in that they both are unemotional. I think that psychopathy, while
That was your devil.
while it's comfortable with doing its own thing based on its own self pursuit, it's not unemotional. Where psychopathy is actually whereas sociopathy is actually unemotional. Like it literally cannot
they have emotions.
feel. No,
They have. It's impossible to have no emotion at all.
that.
It's
is-
interpersonal.
No, but what I'm saying
They
is
are capable
based
of
on
the
a
whole
psychological.
Point, Ted Bundy killed people because it was purely primal urges. Those count as emotions. Anger and
really.
I'm
though.
not talking. Yes, he didn't just kill people because he was like, I wonder what's going to happen.
That's exactly why he killed
No.
people.
He
It was his
absolutely
own-
had weird obsessions and weird creepy. Like he had creepy, like. Well, may as well be blunt about it. He had weird sexual things.
Well, yeah,
You can't
I'm
have
not-
sexual feelings without being emotional because those are tied together.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that he was like feeling love for the people.
Right.
But there is.
So that's
but,
love specifically is actually important because
well,
then you
yeah, but
can't.
technically
as a
love's not an
sociopath-
emotion.
As a sociopath, you cannot fake, or you cannot experience real love. That is
Yes,
a
but love's
psychological
not
fact.
an emotion. As I said, interpersonal.
Well, okay,
it's
that's-
always about. They cannot have interpersonal emotions. I
And
suppose.
you felt like Ultron did somehow have interpersonal relations.
he had weird issue. Like he had an issue with Stark. Like
Which is interesting.
Like more
Yeah,
than
that's
anyone
true.
else, he had a weird. Like he didn't like. That's the whole point. He loses his temper because someone compares him to Stark, and he's like, "How
your
dare
point
you?"
Is he needs to be separate because the bottom line is
'Cause
his
he's a
creator
robot.
shouldn't matter at all to him.
Well, yeah,
he
because why
cares.
does he have any? Why does he care at all about who Stark is?
Right, exactly.
Because he's a robot. Like, how does a robot even have emotion? That's the crux of it. Is it so? Forget the psychopath explanation.
No, I think
that
no,
was
I think
meant.
you brought it out
that
just
was
now,
meant
which
to
is
be
that
used
now
as
I
only an
understand-
illustration.
Well, now I understand what you mean by interpersonal. I think you and I were just not being able to
Well,
reach
and this
a-
is why you have to establish your
concurrence.
terms.
Yes, I'm
This
just
is the
saying-
root of any philosophy class: is first establish your terms.
Yes. So
What do you mean when you say X?
So if you're saying that interpersonal connection is the issue, and you're saying that Ultron has that, I don't disagree with you there. I think that it is true that Stark, for some reason, he's hung up on, and why would that be unless he does have some sort of human position? But then at the same time, I go, Ultron is supposed to represent the most high functioning AI to the point that he's nearly human.
Yes,
so I'm
he's
going,
based off of Jarvis, but see, even then, Jarvis
is
as much
more
as
unhuman. Like Vision,
yeah,
for
Jarvis
instance.
comes across as a lot. Yes, Vision comes across as a much more successful non-human AI.
Yeah, that's true.
Because although I mean, I suppose you could argue he ends up developing feelings for what's her head.
Yeah, but that it's still very. He has to be taught what those are. I mean, like
He still feels them without understanding them.
yes,
But even then,
he sells it better as an AI, though. I agree
Yes.
with you.
But even then, forget when he's Vision. As Jarvis, you never actually see, you never hear him. I suppose you never see him. You never hear him be emotional.
Yeah.
You never actually he's always very much the quintessential computer butler voice.
Right.
And in a way, yes, it's got you. That's not to say that everything has to. I used HAL 9000 as an example. It's not that it literally has to be that, where it's like they talk in a monotone voice and never. It's like it doesn't have to be that. That's a dramatic example. It was so close. There's only 2 left. But like Jarvis has a certain degree of charm, and it's technically personality, but it's coded because he always is like that. It's not that he's sometimes like that and it depends on his mood. He's programmed to talk in such a way that comes across as having like a suave butler vibe.
Yeah.
So even if he had been like that, that would have been fine. I just think there's too much dynamic. He's too dynamic for a robot. Because to me, I go, what I think of as a robot is not dynamic.
Okay, that's a. No,
There you go. We've ended the conversation. Okay.
no, I'm just finally understanding what your qualm, or I suppose your criticism of, Ultron is.
I think
What-
GLaDOS
I mean,
is the best example that I had in my head.
Well, and that's
Because she, again, it's not purely monotone, although I think there's a degree even to which, on a technical level, the
Can I
weird...
choose- sidebar. Can I choose to
You
take
can,
him
but
out?
the best guy to take out is the guy with body armor, because he's going to be a pain. I mean, you can't exactly... I don't know exactly how you choose. I think it's just whoever you're looking at, if they're within range. I think, of all the examples I gave, I think GLaDOS is the best because she... But here's the thing. Even in the game, when she's, like, annoyed with you, she doesn't express it the way a human would. It's almost like frustrated computer. It's almost like, I don't understand. It's almost like, that doesn't compute.
Right.
I don't get you, and you're annoying me.
Isn't it a B that I'm supposed to use to block?
No, why? You don't remember
Why?
anything?
No, I literally because I
Okay,
don't
you
play
can't.
that often.
Here's the thing: you can't counter the shield dudes.
Right, I knew that.
So
I
you
do
have
the
to basically
A,
just
B,
stay
B.
away from them.
Right. Well, I have to do the B. A,
Well,
A,
yes,
right?
but you can't do that as a counter move because if they're in the middle of an attack, you'll just get attacked.
Right.
You're doing the double thing.
No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm now understanding the controls. It's just been a
Well,
while.
that's part of the reason I can't talk is because I'm playing, and then I end up. This is why my train of thought has such derailing problems. It's because
Blame it on that.
Because I'm carrying the weight of this game.
Whatever. That's not true at all.
You're familiar with Portal, yes? As in,
I'm
you know
familiar
what
with
I mean
it,
when
and
I say
know-
GLaDOS.
Yes, exactly.
Like, even when she's annoyed, it comes across more as, like, a computer glitch.
Like, well-
where it's like,
Why are you
if you
being
had
so
to
human?
if you had to emotionalize your like a blue screen,
Right.
then that's where it's like, yeah, I can imagine it's more like literally like, but then that comes across as like she's incapable of understanding.
Right.
And so even though she's technically, being annoyed, which would be, I guess you could consider it an emotion, even then, it's not a human emotion. It's very uniquely computer because it's like only a computer would react this way.
Well, in the same way that they're even in a context of reality, where you look at like Siri or even Alexa, you can get them to the point that they go, "I don't understand what you're saying."
Well, to a degree, that's been programmed into them. Like, if
yes, but I'm just saying that's the same concept. They're going, I'm missing what you're. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that's why I think, and I will have to say, there's something about, on a purely technical level, even the way GLaDOS talks, where it's synthesized clearly, where it's like, it's similar to Siri, where there's a set of like consonant sounds she can make, and all the words are derived from those sounds. Something about that is part of the Uncanny Valley thing.
What that would have required is for Ultron to not be played by an actual actor. I would argue they would have had to actually make him.
And that's a pretty hard sell, but I don't fully agree because I know for a fact that GLaDOS is played by a person reading lines. It's not like they didn't do the same thing they did to Siri. Because Siri is, from what I understand, maybe it's been changed, but Siri was initially like they literally got the woman
to read
like all the possible human vowel noises,
right,
and then they would synthesize words based on that.
Right.
I hate the Shield dudes; they suck a lot. And that might not even be accurate anymore. Whereas like GLaDOS reads lines; it's an actress reading lines.
Right.
But there's a way in which they do the digital effects, which helps, like the way that everything is a different pitch. Because you can kind of fake that kind of computer talk by having it be that kind of thing where it's like every line is a different pitch and there's a bit of distortion effect.
Yes.
Because obviously they had Ultron have like they put like an effect on the guy's voice, but I don't know that that's enough.
Yeah.
The way it should have sounded should have disrupted your ability to relate to it. Let me put it in the broadest terms possible.
Yeah.
Ultron shouldn't have sounded like a person coming through a filter.
Right. Well, and
it's always the Shield dudes. I remember this
unfamiliar and
Uncanny Valley. It's always the most creepy things are the things that are closest to being human, but not.
right. It's something's off, and even on a gut level, you're going,
Yeah.
nah, I'm not. No, this is uncomfortable.
Because it's like the whole point of the Uncanny Valley is it's like your head, your brain all it does all day is deal with other people.
Belleville.
Well, okay, that was animated. I suppose
Yes,
it has
but I'm just saying
a similar effect, and
it does.
that was not
It's-
unpurposeful.
But it does have a similar effect in that you just go, something's off.
Because your
I just don't
your
like
brain
this.
is the one thing you do just about every single day, all the day, is deal with other people.
One, it's trying to make
Your
sense
brain's
of
very
something.
good at recognizing other people.
Right.
Which means the slightest things that are off,
Well, like the
your
waiter,
brain picks
like
up
the waiter
on.
that can bend backwards.
Well, okay. You're harping on. Don't watch Triplets of Belleville, but if you want to know what we're talking about, just watch like a trailer for it, and you'll get it.
It's very.
It's a
creepy.
whack thing.
But it gives you the same kind of macabre where it's like
Where you're
something's
going,
not
it's
right.
like you don't even have to know what it is, but you will know that something's wrong.
Right.
It's kind of like if you've ever seen a picture of someone with no eyebrows. Like it'll take you a second to be like, something's up with his face. And that's even you could be an actual person with no eyebrows, but because we are so accustomed to people with eyebrows, if they're not there, you go, something's not right. And even if you don't know what it is, you could tell. So that's my opinion on why Age of Ultron didn't work for me, is because I was not as scared of Ultron. I think if they had it, I mean, I almost wonder if there's anyone out there who wants to kickstart this with me. Let's get a new actor to read all the same lines but in a different voice, and we'll recut Age of Ultron into a HAL 9000 monster. Because I still think if that I have glimpses of it in my head where I'm like imagining a scene in a different way, and I'm like, that would just be so much more creepy if it was like this. But so if any of you are voice actors and digital voice effect artists and sound designers, I'm starting a project, and you'll get some lovely exposure. I'll give you credit, but of course it's my idea, so I can't pay you, but just you do it from the goodness of your heart. Okay, now that we're done with that topic, I want to get out of this freaking sewer. What I need to do, I don't know if I think it's a separate, because I don't think this action, no, it doesn't. I know that there's a shield takedown, I think you have to unlock it, that allows you to break the shield. Because I'm not doing that, they're just dropping it. And that isn't what I want. I want to break them, which I know you can do, because then no one can pick them up again. Because like right now, no one's got a shield, but if I step away from the spot where they are, someone's going to pick them up. And in fact, it's probably going to happen right now. See, he's got it. I don't remember what it is. It might be something we have to unlock. And now I'm thinking too hard and I can't do it. Ugh, we're getting out of here right now. We are not doing this one more time. Ugh. What I really just need to do is stay away from him until the fight's over.
Come on, stop talking about Ultron for just
Yes,
a moment.
I think we've concluded our opinion. Ugh.
Let's at least get out of the sewer, and then we'll talk some more.
Yeesh.
See you in 5 minutes.
Okay, well this is
That actually isn't unhelpful when that happens. It's just...
well, but then the video's boring. Just us in silence grunting for 5 minutes going... Ugh. Button mashing and angry grunts.
No, I was talking about the blowing up of the...
That's still my favorite move. No! Ooh.
fire extinguisher.
That was not helpful because my bat vision wasn't on, so I couldn't see either. No, I'm so... well, I'm actually not close. There's still a lot of them. No. What I need to do is... okay, that really doesn't help. Wow! Lamp? I was blocked by a lamp.
Well, this may be an interestingly cyclical episode.
Cyclical.
Yeah, I mean, we're just continuing to hit the same days. Alfred, this is a bit of deja vu. Have we been here before?
Ay.
I feel like I've pulled on the same vent a dozen times.
Ay. I do remember this particular fight. It's
Like,
because
seriously, these guys and everything.
It's because there's a variety of guys on hand. I mean, we take out the body armor guy at first, but there's guys with shields, there's guys with pipes, there's a variety of enemies which all require different methods of countering, and it just gets annoying because it's hard to keep up. So I do recall this fight being awful. It's even worse in New Game Plus because they're even worse and harder. Whenever you see the guy with the red shield icon about to attack you, just jump away. Don't even try to fight him because it's... Ooh. Well, you didn't even hit anyone with that. Aye. Alright, let me furnish Russ with a very simple topic that doesn't require brain power. We got some news. We mentioned, I believe it was the last episode from our perspective. It'll be 2 episodes ago now for you guys. We mentioned how DC, or rather, whatever studios are controlling DC. Oh, well, now you're not going to know this because I was the one who read the article.
Whatever studios are controlling DC.
Whoever's controlling the DC movies, who made the decision to basically scrap all of Zack Snyder's stuff. There's further developments. Evidently, they've gone so whack as to oust Henry Cavill as Superman. He will no longer be playing Superman, at least as last I have heard. The situation may be developing.
But this is why there's no continuity at this point.
But would you like to know what they're going to do?
They're going to make it even worse.
Oh, don't tempt fate. What they're going to do is someone at the DC headquarters thought, you know what?
I want to play Superman.
Someone's thought, Superman's a great character, but are there enough black superheroes? And so Superman is going to be played by a black actor next time he's portrayed by anyone.
Make no mistake, it is not the fact that we have a problem with the fact that it's going to be a black actor, because I, in fact, love...
You can't... Okay, let me save you if this is what you're going to do. You can't say it's because you love X black actor.
What?
You can't say it's not because I hate black people. I like this black person.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
good.
the whole Falcon becoming Captain America. I love that concept.
Oh, see, I've not watched that.
But it's been done well. That's the difference.
Well, yeah, and here's the point.
It's been set up from the beginning.
Here's the point that I have heard a lot of people make, and it's what needs to be remembered. I have no issues with black superheroes because I understand, the whole idea of representation. You want to have superheroes that black kids can look up to.
Yes, 100%.
I'm totally behind that. And things like Black Panther was a great movie.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that there were, there was quite a lot of social media stuff about got to take my kid to see Captain America, or not Captain, now you've got me thinking Captain America, Black Panther, and it was a great experience, and it's I'm glad that you get that.
Yeah.
But Black Panther was a black superhero even in the comics.
Right. Well, and again,
and if you want,
Falcon actually becomes
that also happens in
is actually black in the comics.
That happens
as well,
too. So to me, it's I understand the desire for that, but it almost cheapens itself because you go, it was all over the news. Black Panther, first major black superhero, great role model for kids, all about that, and then you undo it by saying, but that's not enough. Right. Instead, it has to be a formerly white superhero that has to be played by a black person. It's well, now why is that? Is it just because he's more well known?
I think
is it because they go, Black Panther's not as popular as Superman, so we got to have...
It's not even that. I think the argument can be made about the lion's share of superheroes maybe being that they were invented or created or at least conceived in an era where it wasn't necessarily as common to have.
But here's the thing: Superman was written by two Jewish kids. I mean, kids. They were young, middle-aged, not middle-aged, young adults. They were in their 20s. Jewish kids, immigrants to America, felt out of place, and so they wrote Superman to be the alien from outer space. Yeah. And it was sort of a power fantasy because they're going. It was Great Depression era Jewish kids in New York. How much more out of place can you feel? So they created this character as it's a surrogate in a way to being this is what it sort of feels like to be an alien in a place that you're a minority. So it's like Superman's already that character. They just is it just that it was for white people? Are Jews considered white people nowadays?
No, I think that it's true that even upon their conception of the character, that he ended up being white because on
they
a
were
cultural
white.
level,
Skin tone, yes, they were Jewish, but I mean they were not like. I don't believe that they. I don't believe they were
Jewish
just.
people are not very white.
Well,
I mean,
now we're getting into more. Let's not tempt fate with this. Drop the freaking door, sir.
No, all I'm saying is, if you
so
set
close.
things up well, and it kind of goes back to our argument with whether it feels forced or contrived versus when it actually feels genuine. If you're going to do it and it actually makes sense because you're going, we've set this up for a while, this has been an ongoing thing, we're really excited about it, all this kind of stuff.
Even on this, like, Black Panther, of course, was, I believe, written by a black writer. I don't know strictly. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that's true. I think I'm correct about that. We did it. Frickin' finally. I thought this was going to be a lighter topic, and now we are getting angry about it.
No, I'm not angry about it.
Whereas you're going, Superman was written by, not even strictly, like, the quintessential white people. So if you're going to be angry that it's like a white fantasy, then it's not. Yeah. It was not written that way.
Right.
But it's like it was written to reflect the people who wrote it, and so was Black Panther, and so was Miles Morales, and so were all these other people.
Right.
So to me, my problem is that you're taking something that has its own history and you're distorting it.
Well, simply to fit the narrative of the modern culture, which is a little bit dangerous, period.
And you're cheapening your own argument because it presupposes that these characters are better. Because you're going, like, I remember it was said once, it was a big deal a while back.
Why would Strange arrange for the mayor to be sent?
What? Oh, right, yeah. Plot stuff. The mayor of Gotham's now in Arkham because Strange is taking over. I want to... Okay. I was making a point, and it was going to be a good one, and I've now lost it. Guys with guns up here.
You're saying, why is it that they say that these... Yeah,
because you're basically saying, well, these characters must therefore be better. And it's like, well, that's exactly the opposite of the point you want to make. You're going, see, it's not enough to have black superheroes written by black people. They have to be initially white superheroes because they're better. No, they're not. That's not at all true. And it cheapens your own argument to make that claim. It was that's what I was talking about. There was a big deal a while back. There was going to be like, James Bond played as a woman. And even feminist people were like, why?
This isn't necessary.
Because James Bond's not a woman. You know what is more sexist? Making James Bond a woman rather than just making a female spy who's equally as good.
Right.
Because it's almost like a female spy couldn't possibly be as good as James Bond.
Therefore,
we have to make James Bond a woman. It's like, well, that's exactly the opposite of the argument. It's like, it's the exact same thing. A black superhero can't be as good as a white superhero, therefore we have to make a white superhero a black superhero. It's like, that completely defeats your own argument, people.
Yeah. I just think it's more, again, the feeling of forced, because I've always been like somebody that says I don't have a problem even with the argument of saying, well, I feel a little bit like there's a sliding scale that leans towards Caucasian people. I'm like, okay, well, that's fair, because on a historical level, that may have been the case.
And it is. I mean, the reason there's...
So I don't disagree with that argument.
I thought we had to go get
I'm not
freeze.
saying that I disagree with that argument. What I am saying is, if you then go to the point where you're just doing it simply because, and you don't actually have the degree of build-up for it and the degree of intentional story into it, then everything's going to come off very half-cocked, and then it's going to feel a little bit like this isn't even good anymore.
Yeah. It's a political statement is all it is at that point.
Well, and at that point, the movie isn't good in its own right, So that's sad. I mean, I didn't hear that specifically, but that's kind of a
Whoa, okay.
That needs to be the thumbnail. He just laid you out.
He was just a Johnny on the spot, apparently. We're going to the Riddler mission. I don't know if it'll stay selected, so look at the map first. Because we want to get that out of the way.
Anyway, that got a little more political than we
normally get.
Well,
there's no way to not
No,
be.
exactly.
But to me, it's just where I go... From what I understand, Henry Cavill's kind of annoyed about it. And he did release a statement trying to be like... Because apparently there was quite a fan uproar. and he kind of had to backpedal and be like, let's not freak out. But from as I understand, nothing has been denied or changed. The initial statement he made sounded a little bit like, oh, there might be developments. Kate, up the stairs. But there's been no further details. So maybe it'll change, maybe it won't. But I understand that he was upset about it at first because it's like, hey, I don't know how many people have played Superman, but he's probably the best guy who has ever played Superman. So it's like, why?
Yeah.
It just feels cheap. And there you go. We're not going to talk about it more than that because that was supposed to be a short topic anyways. Should we stick with news or should we go on to culture? Take your pick. Culture it is then. Superheroes, since we're on the topic. Playing a superhero game. Guys over there. Guys, they may have guns. They probably have guns. You're rattling the fence.
Why do I get over the fence without rattling it?
Well, why do you want to be over the fence at all? Just get away. We're not trying to interact with these people. We're trying to find Riddler. Check the map. Did you check the map again?
I'm trying to get into a better vantage point, really.
Guns. They know you're there. Oh, wait, there's Wayne Enterprises. Oh, they got guns.
Work?
Well, why?
Because they're not going to be able to get me from up here.
Well, true, but you're also not going to be able to... The game pauses when you turn on the map. It's not like you had to be away. We don't want to do that one yet. We want to go to the question mark. I want to do that Riddler quest because we unlocked another Riddler thing.
How do I set it?
Y. So there you go. Culture. I watched... this is about as recent as I get, too, in terms of up with the times. I watched the Prime show Invincible. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Are you aware of what it is, or have you only heard of it?
I'm not really familiar about what it is at all.
I heard about it at the very first because it was recommended by a YouTube channel I follow, and it wasn't even like an episode. It wasn't even a video about it. It was literally just one of those.
Which channel is that?
You know Scalagram, right? You've heard of him? Nordic guy, does a lot of knife and sword reviews.
Oh yes, okay.
Okay. There was one of those YouTube like community posts where he was like, "Oh, just random sidebar, watch this, it's great, and you should check it out." And one of the things he said about it, which is one of the things everyone has said about it, why do you do that every freaking time?
I'm trying. So you said hold the trigger in order to dive, and then to release it, and then it'll on.
No, you have to actually. You only need to do that when you want. You only need to do that when you're high up and want to try and get some extra distance.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And B, you have to actually...
From here, how do I get distance?
You have to manipulate... You don't need to do it from here. Use the grappling hook. Use the grapnel boost. Double press A. You have to do it before you reach the thing you're aiming at. You don't really need to do the dive move through the city much at all, because there's plenty of stuff to grapple onto.
Well,
okay. So do that, grapple onto that, and press double A. And then and you have to hold. Okay,
gotcha.
When you want to fly, never let go of A.
All right.
Also, don't. Okay, hang on. It took you that long to realize you were getting shot?
No, I was trying to get away by doing.
Oh, I guess those were Two-Face's guys. I like how he points the gun at you and then walks away. He was gonna threaten you, and then he's just like, "All right, I made my point."
He's already dead.
Invincible. What wasn't what we were talking about? We got off on a tangent.
Well, no, I asked which YouTuber.
What people have said about it, and what he said about it, is that it manages to deal with the superhero concept in a very realistic way, where it's like if superheroes existed, and the kind of chaos you get in comic books was real, this is how society would be like. Where it's like there's numerous superheroes, there's also numerous supervillains, and it's like the way people react to that is the way you would. It's like there's a lot more, like if you lived in a world where there were people like the Riddler or the Joker doing around blowing things up, it would change your outlook on life. And there's a degree to which the show deals with that.
Probably a little more calloused, I suppose.
Yeah, certainly, and there's a lot of that in the show, where it's like it shows not only what it would be like to be a superhero, because the main character is obviously a superhero character, but it shows a very realistic, like, it's not really a spoiler, because this is established in the first episode. The main character is the son of equivalent of Superman. Like, essentially the most powerful superhero there is. He's the main character is that guy's son, and his mom is a normal person, and they do a lot with that family dynamic of like what it would be like as the mother of a superhero, or the wife of a superhero. Where it's like this is and I think she actually does she's a great character and is well acted. Where it's like she does a great job. Where you're going, I understand this is like a responsibility they have, and I can't stop them, despite the fact that it's hard, when someone you love is that kind of person. No, it's not me. So and it's like there's a lot of that kind of quality interpersonal stuff. It's also, admittedly, I wonder if you didn't like Castlevania, you might not like this because it's equally as gory. Because that's another element of realism where it's like, if Superman punched you, you would explode. Your head would in fact disintegrate, and they don't shy away from that fact. And it's like, it's not gratuitous though.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't, it's not normally gratuitous. There's some scenes I was like, all right, they're going a little too heavy with it for me. But there's also plenty of scenes that are like exactly what it's like, where like the quintessential superhero grab a guy and whip him over your head and slam him into the ground.
Right.
Like in a movie, that's just like, they get right up after that. Whereas in this, it's like, no, the dude just completely dies. Like he smashes him against the ground, his head cracks open, and he's dead. And that's exactly the way that would be. So it's gruesome.
I appreciate that kind of.
I cheated.
I appreciate that kind of.
I did actually.
Realism.
I used mine.
And the reason I didn't like Castlevania was probably slightly different than
is that all I had to do?
Just simply like gore, like hardcore.
I would say
gore
Castlevania is more on the gratuitous side than this is.
Yeah, I mean, I just because the
was that seriously it? I don't remember this one being that easy. I thought that was just the beginning. That was awesome.
You're safe now, Officer North.
Oh, yeah. How the heck do you know who I am?
I thought I was going to die back there. Riddler gave you a code,
but
right? It will.
I'm just going to skip most of this. Don't mind me twiddling my thumbs. Oh, crap. I needed to actually hear what he said. Oh, there you go. 860. 860.
8675309.
567902118.
What?
It's a song.
So is mine. It was just
I got mine. Where is this? It's not this.
the I don't have a problem with the notion of gore. Like for instance, Arrow. Early Arrow. It's not that it was actually.
It
gory,
was
but
not
what I'm
gory
saying is,
because you didn't. It was
correct.
brutal, but you didn't see stuff.
But I'm saying the concept of having superheroes that are judge, jury, and executioner. I'm just like, well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of
that's not the nature of
it comes
this.
with the territory, but
yeah, but that's not like this. Isn't what that's about. There it is.
I mean, but
it's gore to the extent it's not just like, oh, we're killing people because we're vigilantes. It's like it's not even intentional. It's literally like, yeah, if Superman punched you, this is what would happen to your face.
Yeah.
Oh, I told you this would happen. Battery. This is why I use wired controllers. Yeah, shut up. I'm upgrading myself.
Bing bong, I'm Batman.
Now let me know, is there a way I think it's one of these that's like a shield disarm. Oh, wait, hang on. Disarm and destroy. Is this only for guns, or is this... No, this is not just for guns. This is what I did. This is what you can do to destroy not only guns, but those shields. So if you build up a combo and then press this, you disarm whatever they're holding and break it. And that works for the shield, too. I'm leaving. I hate the Riddler so much. But anyways, it's great for that reason, and for others, where it's like, it's not excessively gory.
Right.
It's realistically where it's like, yeah. And it's like, if you've ever followed, if you've ever followed some people like Game Theory did it, and like some other, I can't think of other channels, but it's been a topic, or like Imaginary Axis, or some of these comic book type stuff, where it's like, yeah, if Superman can punch with light, like almost the speed of light, then he would create nuclear fusion at the tip of his fingers, and it would irradiate everyone around him. It's like, it doesn't go quite into that detail, but it's that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it turns out these powers would be pretty horrendously devastating, and people would actually be right to be suspicious of these people. So, anyways, I watched that whole series this past week. There's only 8 episodes, and there's only 1 season so far. But very sophisticated writing. Oh, I didn't actually level up.
See, and that goes far to me.
Very
The
sophisticated writing.
yeah.
Very good acting too. Everyone in it is great. J.K. Simmons is the main, is the dad Superman character, who's the dad of the main character, who is great. J.K. Simmons is always great. I will always love him as Portal 2, Gabe Johnson. That will always be my metric. But he's great in everything else too. He's great in this. I'd have never heard of the kid who plays. I don't think he's a kid. He plays the kid, the main character. I never heard of the actor, but he does a fantastic job at like all of the kind of nuance in the delivery that you would hope for in that kind of character. I don't really want any of these, so I'm just going to go with ballistic armor. That helps us not get shot so much. I mean, it won't stop us getting shot, but it will make getting shot less bad. So very sophisticated writing, very good acting. The animation is about the only thing I think is a little lacking. I don't exactly know what the budget nor what the time constraints were. I don't know. I mean, it was a week-to-week type release. That's Prime did that. So I don't know. Maybe they did it in a week. It feels. I suppose it could have been purposeful. It feels a little bit like comic book panels brought to life.
Sure.
So there's the the shading's fairly simple, and the animation movement is a little simple.
But see, that's where I go, writing is everything.
Yeah, well, and that's where I go, it could have been an artistic choice where they're trying to make it literally look like a comic book panel come to life.
Which is fine.
Yeah, if that was an artistic choice, I could see it. I still think it looks a little lacking compared to other animated shows.
But if it is animated, I almost prefer them
Well,
to
of
go
course
that
it
route
is.
than to try to almost overly CGI it to the point that it's so realistic.
Oh, no, I
quote-unquote,
mean, it wouldn't have been CG. They couldn't have possibly done it as CG, but you can make stylized animation. This is not that
Sure.
stylized. It's very much comic book-y. Which, I don't know.
Maybe staying
That's
true to the form is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's not. It's the only qualm I have with it, when it's a minor one at that. But that came out I think in like April or something, so that's about as up to date as this show gets. Very good, and you should check it out.
And that's on which now?
On Prime,
Which
so you have it.
Oh, there you go.
But again, mind. Ooh, there you go. Look at them nostrils. Mind that it is not children friendly for the reasons we've described. I would not watch
That's
this with
not
children.
obvious. I feel like that's a little bit.
Well, but you gotta say, some people are just thick. It's a good show. You should check it out if you're into that. And yeah, I'm trying to think of any other reasons. I mean, yeah, writing, acting. I mean, yeah, it's very good, very solid. A fun take on the superhero genre because it's hard to do that these days.
That is true.
Given how long superheroes have been around, it's hard to do new stuff with it. But definitely something you should check out. And it has been a little over an hour. And would you look at that? We've covered all of our superhero and superhero adjacent topics. It's almost like we know what we're doing now. Some 14 videos in.
Back in the groove.
Not for long.